Shall we start? Shall I do this?
You have to show it.
And then we have to wait for 3
No,
seconds.
no, no. 4 5 seconds.
Okay. So,
Start.
fine. Good morning, dear student. I'm Akansha Tyagi, working as assistant professor at IMS Ghaziabad University Courses campus and academic counselor with IGNOU. I'll be taking your subject called Human Resource Development. So let's begin. Dear students, your syllabus of the subject called Human Resource Development is divided into 12 units. And if you remember, in the previous class, we have covered unit number 1, 2, and 3, which were the part of block number 1. In unit number 1, we talked about the concept and overview of human resource development. We also talked about the definitions of HRD. Then we also talked about the equation of HRM, which includes HRA, HRD, IR, and ER. Then we talked about HRD system. And as I told you that HRD system is composed of several subsystems. Then we talked about HRD processes. So today we'll be covering the block 2, and in the block 2 we'll be talking on unit number 4 and unit number 5. In unit number 4 we'll be talking about HRD for employees, and in unit number 5 we'll be talking about role of HR managers. So let's start. Fine. So we will be covering these topics in today's lecture. First, we'll be talking about HRD's conceptual development, then HRD for managers, function of HRD department for employees, emerging issues faced by HRD professionals, then role of HRD professionals in the organization, and lastly, we will conclude. Fine. In order to start with the conceptual development of HRD, let's talk about today's business environment. Dear students, as you must be knowing that today we are at the verge of another industrial revolution. So every organization today is striving for sustainable competitive advantage. We all are very well versed that we are moving towards the 5th industrial revolution. So in order to survive in today's environment, the organization has to rest upon sustainable competitive advantage, which means who we are, what we are best at, how we are better than our competitors, and which market we are catering upon. So in order to attain sustainable competitive advantage, you have to rely on your human capital. When I say human capital means knowledge, skill, and ability of your people within the organization. So the key for those involved in human resource development in today's time is how far they can proactively get involved in shaping future skill development and human interaction with the technology. So if you are an HRD expert, you shall have the ability to foresee the future and also able to see what are the skills which are going to become obsolete in the time to come and what are the skills will be in demand. And you have to impart those skills which are going to be in demand in the times to come. And looking into the industrial revolution, we cannot underestimate the impact of technology in the way of doing the work. Fine. Now HRM and HRD. So are they alike? Are they different? So let's begin with this. If I say HRM people are responsible for employee acquisition, development, and retention in the organization. Acquisition involves 3 things. It is human resource planning, recruitment, and selection. Human resource planning, which is also known as manpower planning, is a process by which you ensure that are we having right number of, right type of people available at the right place. If yes, then you need not to go for recruitment and selection. But if no, then you have to plan for recruitment and selection in your organization. Recruitment is a positive process by which you give an ad about the vacancy in your organization. And when you receive number of application, then you select the best. Whereas once you have selected the people, you have to provide the development, which includes training and development. Training is for a shorter period of time and development is for longer period of time. This is HR not only includes recruitment, selection, training, and development. It is also responsible for the retention of the people. As in the year 2023, the world has faced great resignation. So, in today's competitive world, retaining your employer is again a challenge in the eye of HRM as a department. So, to conclude, HRM involves acquisition, development, and retention of the people in the organization. Now, what does HRD do? So, HRD can be defined as the integrated use of training and development, organizational development, career development to improve individual, groups, and organizational effectiveness. So, HRD uses three primary functions, which is training, development, organizational development, and career development to bring in change in the people, in their behavior, in their knowledge, skill, and ability. So they are improved. Once they are improved, the group will be improved. And once all the groups are improved, the organization effectiveness will be increased. As organization is made up of various groups and groups are made up of individuals. So in short, HRD is the subsystem of HRM as a bigger system. So they both go hand in hand. Now, how HRD is different, right? To get deeper into the concept of HRD, Frank in the year 1988 has given the theoretical foundation of HRD, where he has given three assumptions of it. The first says HRD is distinct from children's learning since it is based on research and theories from the field of adult education. Although the main focus of HRD is to enhance the learning of the people, but it is different from children's learning. How? Because it is based on creating the right condition for learning. Also, the focus of these learning is to bring in the behavioral changes in your people. Second, he says that HRD is concerned with enhancing workplace performance. Look, the main focus of HRD as a subsystem is to enhance the enabling capabilities of your people. It is least concern are the health or personal relationship of the employees. That's why it is different from the other aspects of human resource management. Third, he says that HRD makes use of change theories. Now, what are the change theories? Change theories apply the interventions of change, the plan change, and how you inculcate those plan change in the organization. Or in other words, how you unfreeze the existing organization structure. Maybe it's policies, maybe it's process. You bring in the change and then you refreeze the entire structure. So change theories revolve around the inculcation of planned change within the organization. So in the words of Frank, this is how we differentiate HRD from other construct of human resource management. Fine, HRD for managers. So before we start with HRD for managers, let's have a look on what organization is and how it performs. So I won't be wrong if I say that organization is a system and it is made up of several subsystems. Now, what is the system? System is something which is having predefined boundaries or peripheries. It is this boundary or the periphery which gives a system a separate identity. So is the organization. Organization is a system, but it is an open system. Why open system? Because you must be aware of business environment. There are two types of environment, external environment and internal business environment. Organization is impacted by external business environment. Suppose there's a change in the technology, there's a change in the political party, there's a change in the legislation, so on and so forth. So any change in the external environment will impact your organization. And this is not it. Any change in the organization will also impact the external environment in one way or other. For example, you innovate some new technology. So by default, your competitor have to also change the technology. Fine. And I say it is a system made up of several subsystems. Subsystems can be department of the organizations, that can be functional areas, that can be process, that can be the policies. And all these subsystems are interdependent. Marketing department may be dependent on HR department. Department may be dependent on finance department, so and so forth. So HRD is again one such subsystem of the bigger system called organization. So to conclude, HRD is viewed as a subsystem of a large organizational system. And it is also responsible for three C's within the organization. The first C stands for the competencies, that is the knowledge, skill, and ability of your people. Second C is the commitment. If your people know that my organization cares for me, they're investing in my training and development, then obviously they will be committed. And once they're committed, they will not leave your organization. And in order to enhance the capabilities of them, you have to provide the culture, which is of automation, autonomy, innovation, trust, proactiveness. So, I can say that HRE for manager imparts you three C's, that is your capabilities, culture, and commitment. Fine. Let's move on to the next topic, that is functions of HRD department. So, what role does the HRD department performs? Or what functions do the HRD department performs? So, basically, the HRD starts functioning when an employee joins the organization. They orient the new employee to the company, its culture, his or her colleagues. Not only this, then they ensure enhancing your knowledge, skill, and ability. And after that, they make you capable of performing the present role in the organization, and they also develop you for the future roles within the organization. So, broadly, these functions are divided into two parts, primary function and secondary function. Primary functions are the main functions, and secondary functions are those functions which are supporting your primary functions. So, the primary functions are again divided into three parts. These are training and development, career development, and organizational development. Whereas the secondary functions are role analysis and development, performance appraisal, potential appraisal, performance counseling, employee orientation, succession planning, quality circle, information sharing, participative devices, quality of work life, quality circles, human resource information system, and research. So in the next slides, we'll be talking about each and every function one by one. Fine. So primary function, as I told you, these are the main functions which perform both micro and macro level function within the organization. These are three: training and development, organizational development, and career development. So now let's talk about each and every primary function of HR. Fine. First is training and development. Are they same? Are they different? Basically, they both are different. Training is meant for shorter period of time and development is for longer. Training is related to technical know-how or job specific knowledge of the employee. Whereas development is a broader term, it is more comprehensive, it is for longer duration of time. So the training of an employee calls for specific knowledge and skill with respect to the particular job. It is job specific. It can be done through various methods, and these methods are either on the job training, off the job training, or apprenticeship programs. On the job, as the name suggests, you are given training during the job or in the main organization. Can be done through coaching, counseling, job rotation, internship program, etc. And off the job training means we are, as an organization, we are stimulating the job related environment, and there we are giving you the training. Lectures are the best example of the job training. Whereas apprenticeship programs are more comprehensive than the on-the-job and the off-the-job training. It can be composed of two. Anybody who has attained the age of 14 years can go for these apprenticeship programs. Fine. So this is about training, which is very specific to the job. Whereas in development, we are preparing you for the future responsibilities while increasing the capacity to perform a current job. Fine. So development aims at enhancing your decision-making skills, interpersonal skills, organizational knowledge, and job knowledge. Decision-making, first it starts with the problem identification, then you find out the alternative solution to that problem, and then you choose the best alternative solution out of many solutions. Or in other words, you determine plan A and plan B. Interpersonal skills. These are the skills which are very much needed at all the levels of management, whether you call it top level, middle level, or lower level. These are people related skill at how cordial relationship you have with your seniors, your colleagues, and your juniors. No matter how much we advance in terms of technology, these are the skills which will never become obsolete. Then comes the organizational knowledge. As an employee of the organization, you shall be aware of organizational structure, the product, the customer market you are serving, the philosophy, the vision and mission of the organization. And job knowledge includes your knowledge related to the job, that is the policies, the procedures, and technical know-how of the job. So in short, training is more specific, development is generic. In development, we develop your managerial capability, your supervisory capability, and also your leadership skills. And it is the primary function of human resource development. Next, second primary function of human resource development is organizational development. Organizational development is a subsystem of HRD which deals with inculcating the planned change in the organization. Yes, students, change can be planned and it can be unplanned. But OD generally deals with the planned change. And how it works? It is defined as the application of behavioral science concept to organizations' intended change. Behavioral science is that field of study where we study about the behavior of the people, because it is the people which makes the organization complex, because at times it is very hard to predict the behavior of your people. Fine, so it deals with how and when people behave in one particular way. Generally it deals with your psychological concepts like your motivation, your attitude, your personality, and your perception. So OD also deals with what at what macro, which is the larger level, and micro at the smallest unit of the organization. So to conclude this, can I say that HRD plays the role of a change agent? That how to bring in the change in your organization. So this is the second function of HRD. Fine. The third function, which is called as career development. Dear student, before HRD, career development was capped to the employees only. But in today's organization, if you want to grow your people, if you want to grow your organization, and if you want to retain your people, you have to focus on career development. Career development includes career planning and career management. So now what is career planning? Career planning is concerned with individuals choosing the job, occupation, and the organization at each stage of their career. Stage, because career is made up of related but different positions a person holds in their work life. Fine. So this is career planning. Now what is career development? Career development involves helping the employees attain career objective. For this, as an organization, you have to do the career assessment of the employees, what they aspire from their career, and accordingly, you have to provide the career development opportunity so that you also grow, and along with the growth of your organization, the people shall also grow. Various researchers or the researchers in the field of career have divided career into four stages, and these are establishment stage, when you are of the age of 21 to 26 years. Then advancement stage, generally people within the age bracket of 26 to 40 years. Now maintenance stage, that is from the age group of 40 years to 60. And last is the withdrawal stage, that is 60 years up. Establishment stage, you're very new. You identify your own strengths and weaknesses. You're dependent on your senior for your skill enhancement. Fine, and for the feedback too. Advancement, you've grown in terms of your knowledge, skill, and ability. You're becoming expert of the field. Then maintenance. During this stage, majority of you have reached the highest position in your career ladder, and you try to maintain it. And last is the withdrawal stage. Now you have reached the age of 60 years years, and then you think of whether you want to continue or you withdraw from the job. So these days, career development is again the core function of HRD, and it is again a strategic function in the eye of the organization. So these were the three primary functions. Let's move on to the secondary functions. Fine. Broadly, we have classified secondary functions into 6 parts. These are those functions which help the organization in achieving or assisting the primary functions of human resource development. So again, we'll be talking about each and every secondary function one by one. First is role analysis. Now, what is role? Role is a function which you will be performing in the job. Fine. And role analysis is the systematic and detailed study of each and every role in the organization so that the purpose, the duties, and responsibilities of the role shall be clear. Okay. So it helps or it is used to define a role more clearly so as to avoid the doubt in the expectation from the role. Doubt in the eye of your senior also, and also for the person who will be performing the role. Fine. He or shall know what is expected out of me, and so goes with the senior. They also know what you expect from the role. So in the will help you to clarify the role. It will also help you in preparing the role description. What are the tasks and duties or the responsibilities shall be performed at that one particular role. And because of this, it will lead to reduced role conflict. Fine. Now, employee orientation. Employee orientation is the process of orienting new employee to the company, to the culture, and to the colleagues. Because when you're new to the organization, you are not aware of the people, company, and the culture. Every company is different. They're having different culture. The policies are different. And the people are also different. Right? To make familiar new employee to that system, we provide employee orientation training. So it will help or taught the employee about the industrial safety, the security, health, and welfare. And they will also then be informed about the role and the tasks that are required from them. So employee will be clear about the organization, its product, policies, and people. So it will help you to help the new employer to gel with the existing company, culture, and colleague so that they will be more protected. Next, performance appraisal. Performance appraisal is again a very planned and systematic process which involves collecting the information and providing the feedback about the individual as well as group performance in the organization. It is a very strategic tool in the hand of HRD professionals. It tells you, have you performed as per the expectations or your performance was below or it was above the expected performance. And there are various functions of HRM and HRD which are dependent upon the result of performance appraisal. The first is rewards. On what basis you are going to give rewards? Obviously, on the basis of the result of performance appraisal. Then motivated. The employee was good. They have necessary knowledge, skill, and ability, but the performance was lagging. And you have to figure it out what is the reason. Maybe he or she is lacking in motivation. Fine. Doesn't senior, it's your responsibility to motivate them. Now, employee was motivated, they were good, but performance was not up to the mark. Maybe they are lagging in one specific set of skill. So for the same, you have to give them training and development opportunity. Employee has outperformed. Fine, the performance was above the standard. So if in the organization there's a position which is vacant, then you can fill it with the existing employee by promoting them to the higher level. And counsel. Everything was good, but again performance was not good. So the counseling, which uses the principle of communication, can be used to counsel the employee. So all these sub-functions are dependent on the result of performance appraisal. Next, we are moving on to potential appraisal. Dear student, the performance appraisal was based on your past performance. Fine. But potential appraisal is not only based on the past performance, but it is dependent upon the potential of the people. Fine. So it can be defined as the process of identifying an employee's strength and weakness in order to use them to forecast for a future performance. So both performance appraisal, potential appraisal, and counseling go hand in hand in enhancing the capability of your people. Then counseling, as I told you, it can be combined with performance and potential appraisal. It assists the assistance provided by a manager to his subordinate in analyzing the performance and other job-related behaviors in order to boost the effectiveness of the job is known as performance counseling. Communication is the key, right? Counseling is nothing, it is based on the principle of communication. If you have some doubt, you communicate, you feel that 50% of your tension is released. The counseling is a way of communication between senior and junior to assist them in performance. Succession planning. It is a long-term planning. Generally or often, it is development oriented. Or in other words, succession planning is a planning where you create pipeline of your people. Then in future, if somebody leaves your organization, then who will be replacing them? So keeping that long run perspective in your eye, you are right now training your people for that position. So can I say succession planning is a systematic identification of employees for senior management position. Again, it is a secondary function of human resource development. Then participative device and quality of work life. Very interesting. I'll share a fact with you that according to National Centers for Disease Control, more than 60% of the diseases are caused by lifestyle. Fine. The most powerful lifestyle risks are smoking, inattention to diet, lack of exercise, substance abuse, back problem, mental de-stress, and excessive stress. Dear student, in today's competitive world, stress is something which is inevitable. But how you handle it, how you manage it, depends on you also and also on your organization. So under HRE, we also take care of all these aspects and we also provide you health and wellness programs so that you can it can enhance your morale, productivity, and reduces the absentee rate and health cost to the organization. So in total, we take a total perspective of an employee, and with these programs, we try to enhance the quality of work life. Fine. Human resource information system. It is the system where the data of the employee is stored, and this data or the human resource information system helps the senior manager to take people related decision within the organization. And the best example of it is SEP. And there are many more human resource information systems which are being used by the organization these days. Research, searching a problem again and again. So the HRM, HRD are ongoing processes. Fine. So you have to invest a huge amount of money in the research and development. So to conclude, these are the accurate and methodology of keeping of information about each employee is another secondary role of HRD department. Fine. So after we people have discussed about the function of human resource development, which we classified into two parts, the primary and secondary, we are moving on to the emerging issues faced by human resource development professionals. The challenges these days are manifold, right? As I told you earlier, we were talking about Industry 4.0. Now we are talking about Industry 5.0. Industry 4.0 was governed by data-driven decisions, automation, whereas in Industry 5.0, we are talking about co-working, human robotics, artificial intelligence, and generative AI. So, not only this, there are other challenges also like diversity, fine, multiple generations, globalization. So, we'll be talking about each and every issue one by one. First is challenge is or the issue faced by HRD managers is encouraging diversity in the workplace. Now, what is diversity? Diversity means differences. These differences can be in terms of age, gender, caste, color, and creed, and also in terms of culture, technological interest, etc., etc. Fine. So, the concept of diversity is very interesting, right? For example, the organization which are able to utilize this diversity are growing manifold, but if you are not able to handle this diversity, you can get into trouble in an organization. Fine. Second is competing in the global economy. These students, after globalization, liberalization, and privatization with respect to India, and because of advancement in the IT and IT enabled tools and technology, as well as in communication processes, we can say that the world has become a global economy. Again, if we calling world as a global economy or a global village, it again has some advantages also. It again has some disadvantages. Advantages are you can cater to the need of everybody in the group. Fine. And disadvantage is this that your product has to be of global standard. So, in order to provide the product of global standards, your people have to have those skills. They have to be very high in terms of innovation and automation. All right. So, this is the challenge which is being posed by global economy. If you are going to produce substandard products, then you will be thrown out of the market. So, HRD plays a crucial role in carrying both the dimension of diversity as well as global economy. Next, reducing competence mismatch. Fine. So, keeping in mind the diversity and globalization of the market and the workforce, your people shall be of the competencies shall be of global standard. So you have to invest lots of money in terms of research and development of people within the organization so that you can minimize the competency mismatch. Next, addressing the requirement of persistent learning. Learning is never ending. Same goes with the HRD professionals and the organization. Fine. So HRD is that subsystem of the organization which remains always on their toes in enhancing the enabling capabilities of the people. And it can be done through learning and knowledge economy. Fine. Next, promoting organizational learning. So, in order to enhance the organizational learning, first you have to provide the culture of learning. In culture, in the last class, if you all can recall, we talked about OCTABASE, which stands for openness, autonomy, trust, proactiveness, then again authenticity, then team, and then experimentation. So, HRD is responsible for creating a learning environment within the organization, and in that learning environment is responsible for enhancing the knowledge, skill, and ability of the people within the organization. Last, again, a very crucial challenge in terms of the workforce generation, which is being posed towards every organization these days. That is that in today's generation organization, all the generations are working together. All the generation mean Gen Z, Gen Y, and Gen X, right? They all are working together, and you all must be knowing that every generation is completely different from the other generation, right? If I talk about Gen Z, they don't want to work for one particular organization from 9 is to 5, 24 into 7, and throughout their life. This generation is more known as job hopping generation. This is not it. They want to work as a freelancer. And that's why the concepts like moonlighting and gig economy are evolving. All right. So, as an HRD professional, so these multiple generations are posing a good challenge to you people. So, how with the help of one policy, you're going to manage the Gen X, Gen Y, and Generation Z. So, accordingly, you have to draft your policies, programs, and procedures of the organization. Fine. Although list goes endless, but these are the main points when we talked about emerging issues faced by HRD professionals. So here we talk about the diversity, the competing in the global era or the company or the economy, reducing competency mismatch, addressing the requirement of persistent learning, promoting organization learning, and managing the workforce generations. So the multiple generations under one. Next, dear student, we will be talking about HRD professionals in the organization. We talked a lot about HRD, how it has evolved, various functions performed by the HRD professional. We also talked about the emerging issues or the challenges which are being faced by the human resource development professionals. Right? Now, you people must be wondering, what does HRD do? Yeah, HRD professionals, what role they play in the organization. So, I'll say they have to be always on the toes because the external environment is ever changing. Business is dynamic, right? You cannot foresee it with 100% accuracy. So here comes the role of HRD professionals as they have to anticipate, innovate, and adapt to compete in the rapidly changing competitive world. Right? Technology are changing with a rapid pace, and there's a fear. Will man be replaced by machine? So, in such a VUCA world, right, the function of HRD professional is really challenging. How do they overcome these challenges? They play a critical role in encouraging, supporting, and creation of learning environment that creates nurture knowledge in this context. So the key to attain a sustainable competitive advantage is always the people of your organization, and as an organization or as an HRD professional you have to enhance their abilities. Fine. So now let's restrict to the role of the HRD professional. They operationalize the HRD function for the work. Look, HRD involves itself into day-to-day operations also. It try to enhance the value of the people by enhancing the day-to-day operation, the efficiency of the day-to-day operation within the organization. So they chalk out the plan for every day for the workers within the organization. This is not it. They also act as a learning specialist. They are known for training need assessment, then planning out the learning outcome of those training programs, then inculcating those training and development programs. And this is not it. They are also responsible for assessing those training and development programs. That are we able to impart the objectives of the learning which we people have decided. All right. They not only act as a learning specialist also, they also perform a role of a administrator. This student in the last class, if you all can recall, we talked about that HRM and HRE are both line and staff function within the organization. Line means they are a department, right? As in department, they have to perform their day-to-day activities. Same goes with the HRE department. As an administrator, they have to plan, they have to organize, they have to coordinate, they have to direct, and they have to control their day-to-day activities as in department within the organization. That's why we're calling it as an function of an administrator. And last one is the role of a consultant. HRE not only perform the role department, but they are also the expert of their field. Fine. When I say expert of the field, with respect to the change and organizational development, training and development, they advise the top level management in what to do and what not to do with respect to the people within the organization. Fine. So now I believe you must be having the answer of what roles does the HRE professionals perform within the organization. So they operationalize the HRE functions for the organization. They act as a learning specialist. They are the administrator and they are the consultant too. So again, they justify both line and staff function within the organization. So last, to conclude, I'll say that most of the Fortune 500 companies have realized the importance and most of these strategies have been developed, implemented, keeping in mind the HRD intervention in the background. So, if Fortune 500 companies has understood that in today's competitive time, they cannot survive without HRD interventions. So, what are HRD interventions? HRD interventions are nothing. These are the subsystems of human resource development. Fine. Which includes performance appraisal, potential appraisal, organizational development, training and development, career planning, so on and so forth. We also call these interventions as HRD subsystem 2. So, we cannot underestimate the importance of human resource development as a subsystem within the organization. Fine. Next is, to conclude, I'll say, beside the various functions of HRM, HRD has evolved a specialist sub-function that basically consists of training and development, career management, learning, knowledge management at various levels in the organization. The student has told you that right now that the function of human resource development is of both line and staff. So it is not only responsible for enhancing the performance of the top level people, but again, it uses both top to bottom and bottom to top approach. If I talk about the level of management, the 3 levels of management, the top, middle and bottom. So HRD not only works at the top level, right? They work at the also at the root of the organization. They enhance the capability, the knowledge, skill, ability, and the attitude of the people at all the three levels within the organization. And now, how do they do it? Do it with the help of training, development, career management, learning, enhancing knowledge of people working at every level within the organization. So I believe up till now you must be clear what training is, what development is, what career management is, what is learning and knowledge. So last, the HRD manager is involved in various activities related to it, and he acts as a manager, administrator, planner, implementer, guide, mentor, and a counselor. Fine. So HRD is performing multiple function, or the manager is performing multiple roles within the organization, right? So at time there are manager. Fine, they're managing the resources within the organization and basically managing the people within the organization. When I say people, the human capital. And why we calling it as a capital? Because of its knowledge, skills, and abilities. They're administrators, right? They're not only responsible for managing the thing, they start from planning, organizing, directing, coordinating, controlling, and the entire operation of their department. They plan the changes. Fine, as I told you earlier, they uses the intervention of organizational development. And organizational development deals with planned change, right? And you have to anticipate that change. Accordingly, you have to implement a change within the organization. It can be the change in the system, the process, the people. But problem with the change is this, that your people are reluctant to change. They don't want to change. So planning the change and implementing the change is also done by the HRD managers. And at the time of crisis, they are your guide, they are your mentors, and they are your counselor. They will hold your hand, and at the time you're having some problem, maybe work related or some other problem, you try to bring you people out of that problem. Fine. So this is it for the day. So let's recall what we have done in today's class. So we talked about the concept, that what is the importance of HRD in industry 5.0, where change is the only constant. Then we talk about HRM and HRD. So I'll say that HRD is the subsystem of the entire organization, where HRM is equals to HRA plus HRD plus IR and ER. HRA is responsible for human resource administration. HRD is responsible for human resource development. IR and ER are related to industrial relation and employee relation. So HRD is a subsystem of human resource management, and human resource management is the subsystem of the organization. Then we took the help of Frank's theoretical foundation, that why HRD is different from other functional areas. So he talked about it is based on adult education, which is intended to bring in the behavioral change in the people. Then we talked about that HRD is solely responsible for enhancing the performance of the people. Then it uses the concept of change and its theories. Then HRD for the manager. Fine, why it is essential for them, and we have talked on this from the system point of view. Then we talk about the HRD function, which we divided into two parts, primary and secondary functions. So these are the primary and secondary functions of HRD. Then we talk about the emerging issues faced by the HRD professional. Here we talk about diversity, globalization, competencies. We also talk about persistent learning, organizational learning, and how organizations are managing multiple generations these days. That what role do the HRD professional performs? They act as they operationalized day-to-day activity of the organization. They act as a learning specialist. These are the administrators, and at times they act as a consultant to the top level management as well. So, in order to conclude, HRD is one of the crucial function of any organization which deals with inculcating the plan change by enhancing the enabling capabilities of its people. So it is not responsible for today's task also, but it also develop your people for the future. This is it from my end. Namaste. See you in the next class. So these are certain books which I suggest you people to read it and go through it. There's a book by Tripathi on human resource development. Then again, there's a book on human resource development by Oxford University Press. Then TV Rao, again a very prominent author in the area of HRD. The book is Future of HRD. There's another book by him, Reading in Human Resource Development Theory and Practice, and then there's a book on Wellness Scorecard. So you can use it, read it. So thank you, student. Namaste. See you in the next class. Fine, dear student. So in the next class, we'll be covering competency mapping and performance analysis along with the career planning. We'll be talking in detail about competency, performance, and career planning. In the next classes, we will be talking about HRD culture and climate, and we'll be talking about counseling, coaching, and mentoring. In unit number 10, we will correlate HRD with industrial relation. And in the last two units, we will be talking about emerging trends, perspective, and HRD experiences. I hope you're enjoying the learning. So this is it. So as I suggested you for further reading, you can go through these books which give you detailed information on human resource development. So in short, as I'm again and again saying, HRD is responsible for enhancing your competency, capabilities, and culture within the organization. So its focus is on making the employees better, as employees are the capital of organization. Earlier, employees were treated as organization used to go for hire and fire, but these days people of the organization are seen as strategic resource, and it is not as simple as that hiring and firing the people. The main focus of HRD is enhancing their capabilities and retaining them, because change is beyond our hand, it is not in our hand, it is uncontrollable. But what we can control is the people of the organization. Fine. And through the people of the organization, we can survive in today's unpredictable VUCA world. So core of HRD lies on enhancing the people's knowledge, skill, and ability, not only for the present role but also for the future roles. So this is it. Namaste again. See you in the next class. So in case of any doubt, any query, you can reach it out to me on my email ID, that is Akansha Tyagi 2010 @gmail.com. It is AKANSHA TYAGI Akansha Tyagi 2010 @gmail.com. I hope I'm able to clear your doubts. Feel free to comment. Fine. And you can reach it out on my email ID. I'm again repeating Akansha Tyagi 2010 @gmail.com. So take a note of these books. You can refer to them in case of any doubt or you want to learn more. लेकिन 5 मिनट पहले ओवर हो गया आज ना. So yeah, it is done. वो एडिट नहीं हो सकता.